We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Malik Washington, Miami Dolphins wide receiver, going into his second year, and I think he's ready for a breakout season. I think he started to show a lot towards the second half of that his rookie year. Malik Washington, 6th-round guy, and one of my favorite guys going into that draft class. You get to really see his skill set. Like, he really excelled as a returner. You get to see his ability with the ball in his hands. He's got very good balance. But I think a lot of these early plays I'm showing here is his ability as a route runner, and there was some separation ability, beating corners on the outside too. I think another reason that I could see a big thing, a big jump is there's been rumors the Dolphins want to run a lot of 11 personnel. So 11 personnel would mean more 3 wide receiver sets on the field. So that would mean more opportunities, and you would allow Malik to get in the slot. And I think he showed enough on the outside last year to where he can play on the outside too, so still be out there on 2 receiver sets. But I think he would thrive even more in the slot in 3 receiver sets, which will happen more often for Miami. If the Dolphins do end up moving on from Jonnu Smith, he's a guy that could, I think, take some of those underneath targets, those design targets, work as a screen guy, because he's very, good with the ball in his hands. And for a guy that's pretty small, plays with really good toughness, smart player as well, pretty reliable. I think, he proved that. I think, a lot of 6th-round rookies, would struggle in this scheme. Like, a lot of young guys struggle, I think, because it's all about timing and placement and being exactly where you need to be with your quarterback in mind. And I think Malik, really showed a lot. He started, I think, maybe had a little bit of a slow camp, and I didn't think he got to show off his stuff until the last preseason game. But then he kind of, never looked back from there. He got his opportunities in the game, always took advantage of them, had some big returns, some really huge returns. This one right here actually, helped them win that game and tie the Jets 1 to allow it to even go to overtime. Love the toughness that he plays with. Big fan of Malik's game. Super, super big fan. And then you just, this reps like this. One-on-one on the outside versus, a corner on the boundary who's, a good player for the Niners here. Versus press man. And just, having a plan of attack. One good release here. Gives a little slide release and then jab with that outside foot outside of the frame, which gets this guy to move just enough. And then take that inside path. And then good hand placement and fighting. Guy shoots that inside hand to stop you from getting the inside, and he does a really good job of getting that elbow, which allows him to get exactly where he wants to be, and then get exact. And Tua is throwing with timing and anticipation. Tua is not even looking in that direction, so he's putting a lot of trust in his receiver. This is another a big part of this, is that he's able to break, and then the ball's thrown a little behind him, make a tough catch. I think that's another big part of this game is usually smaller receivers, I think, struggle to translate to the next level because they struggle at the catch point. But Malik had a really good catch rate in college, didn't drop the ball very much. And he'll make some tough catches, whether it's behind him, above you. He's got a really good vertical. If he needs to go up and get it, that's a big part of his game. And I like seeing this because he's projected to be more of a slot. But the fact that he can win like this, one-on-one on the outside versus a corner, and down the field too. This isn't just a quick little slant. This is a route where you're winning, 15+ yards down the field. Very, very impressed with Malik in that part of his game, because he took advantage of a lot of those reps. And then just it's an underneath check down screen option. He can be a yak guy. He does a good job, I think, shifting his momentum, catching the ball in stride. He's not gonna blow you away with his speed or burst or anything, but he's definitely athletic enough. It's just not an elite trait or anything like that. Then he does some routes like this where he looks explosive. Dolphins struggled in this Texans game, and Derek Stingley had a perfect game. He was pitching shutouts. Here he gets one-on-one with Malik, and Malik the ball doesn't go his way because there's quick pressure. But Malik actually gets open and really sets up Stingley well. These are the routes that gets me excited. One, attacking outside leverage, being able to manipulate, be deceptive in your route stem. Versus this off coverage. Looks like they're playing more of a zone match. But look at him attack the outside leverage, gets Stingley to open up his hips early, and now that he's done that, he's able to then boom, really good hip shift right here to stick that foot on the ground, get upfield. Good job hand fighting as well, getting through that contact. Makes Stingley open back up. You kind of work into that blind spot. And imagine if there wasn't a quick pressure and Tua was able to throw this ball with timing. He's wide open one-on-one versus Stingley on the outside, and for a guy that's supposed to be a slot receiver, doing that versus one of the best corners in the league like that is very, very impressive. And he didn't get to always a lot of chances to do that, but when he did, there's some good reps in there. Here's the slot stuff you like to see him working, the stick and go stuff. Ball doesn't come his way, but there's plenty of examples of him, running some pretty nice routes, pretty good like hips, feet, not a lot of wasted movement. Like when he's selling on these double moves, he's able to use that eyes, body, break away. If Eichenberg wasn't getting beat initially, we end up getting sacked on that play. But there's a lot of reps of Malik having some really good routes. Just didn't end up quite getting the ball in those situations. But when he can take advantage of design touches, he's good with the ball in his hands. I think one area Malik actually did better at than most of the receivers was the screen game. I think an area like Tyreek and Waddle struggled is like obviously they're really explosive and fast, but they weren't reading their blocks super well. I think Malik did a good job for the most part reading his blocks. There's a couple times I think he could have read it better, but I think in comparison to the other receivers, he was more consistent, and then maybe that helps him with his return game. Is just reading the flow of blocks. He's able to catch this. I like this one. He gets back, and then look out, like Tua throws it on his inside shoulder, and Malik does a good job shifting his momentum right before the catch point to then get upfield, which allows him to burst away from the initial edge defender and then get downhill. Hard nosed runner. Malik has like a running back type build, and I think that definitely helps him in those situations. His first touchdown of his career was literally on an end around. Get him the ball, work off his blocks, have the burst speed to get in the end zone. Really can use him on design touches. But then the fact that he can do all that stuff and then still go a line on the outside at his size and run routes like this one-on-one versus good corners and create separation. This is a ball that ended up, I think, it ended up not being a touchdown to Tyreek. Ball had to get rid of real quickly due to some quick pressure. But good route here from Malik. There's a lot of plays that I think could have been left on the field. And you can just see, like, I think he does a really good job with this step right there. This pressure step, that left foot right there, I think does a really good job of freezing this DB. Because when you stick that inside foot, I think a lot of guys are thinking like, oh, he's probably going to break to the outside. But he doesn't do it hard enough to where it's like, oh, I got to be, he's trying to shift me to the inside. He then does that to then get into that step to break away, show some hip fluidity, flexibility in that lower half, to then work into the blind spot of the corner again and then create some separation on the interior. The ball has to come out. I think it's the one that like the DB barely ends up tipping, but Tyreek still could have caught it for a touchdown. I think it's that play. But just another good rep. Like this is not something I think when you watch this film at Virginia that you're expecting to see is running routes on the outside and down the field, like 10, 15-yard routes down the field and getting open versus good NFL corners. I don't think people were, expecting that from his film. The fact that he's showing that actually gives me a lot of hope, potential breakout, and then more 11 personnel just means more opportunities. I think, a better work for him. And I know they brought in like Nick Westbrook-Akine, but I think the thing is like they're both going to be like kind of your wide receiver 3, but they have very different skill sets. So I think, there's enough room for both of them. Here's another good route, working into the blind spot. Ball goes to Tyreek on the other side. This is another good example of Malik being able to do some stuff. Outside one, attack hard inside leverage. Love the manipulation in the route stem. Get this guy to open up his hips. And then he's able to work back vertically, kind of, and does it subtly. Because since he hard attacks inside and is able to then get a little bit vertical, now that this guy's floated more exactly where you want him, this guy isn't realizing that like this guy's getting back into that outside half. And then now once he gets close enough, ate up the cushion, he works into the blind spot of the corner, which gets him to open up his hips. And now Malik, boom, sinks his hips, gets out of the break. If the ball comes his way with anticipation, he gets a catch. He has enough separation there. But they decide to go to Tyreek. Tyreek catches it anyway. Did a really good Browns game. Like, does a good job, one, selling the blocks. He's working outside like this. Sell the block. Kind of lull this DB to sleep. And then, boom, break to the inside. Ball's thrown a little bit behind him. He bobbles it. Able to show concentration to hang on. And then while still trying to catch this ball, he still shows off play strength and contact balance to break this tackle and then get upfield. Very, very impressed with that play from Malik. Even after almost initially dropping it, he had a lot of work on this drive. Even stumbles a little bit there, still able to make the catch while stumbling into his chest, and then not go down super early. Like he's ready to take a hit too. Like he gets hit here by a corner and a linebacker, and he just doesn't just go down instantly. He still stays on his feet. Falls forward for an extra yard. Love that part of his game. Even the corner there is getting up because he got hit pretty hard there from Malik. This was a huge play. One of the more underrated plays. This conversion versus the Rams. running smash. Tua throws with anticipation, and just love this from Malik because Tua's throwing this ball before Malik even breaks. Like he's preparing to throw it as Malik is breaking, basically. So Malik has to snap his head around and understand the situation because with this like corner route, he could go all the way to the sideline. They could try to float it over this DB, but Malik understands the situation, like kind of where people are playing. So he snaps the head around quickly, starts to slow down. He's ready for this ball that's gonna be thrown low and behind. So this corner doesn't have a chance to make a play, and Malik makes the tough catch, and that was a huge, huge conversion from Washington here. That was a huge play in the season, and having that sort of trust with a rookie receiver is big. This one was a game saving play. Good job weaving through traffic, running over the kicker. As I'm saying, like he for a shorter, smaller guy, like he's built like a running back. My favorite players, and they got him with like really good value because I thought Malik was gonna be like a fourth round pick. I think he fell to the sixth because of him being a smaller ish player, and he's not like got elite speed. I feel like, when you're smaller, people want players that have like elite speed. But to me, he had good enough speed and burst and like really other good athletic traits, and he's just a football player. Like he makes a lot of tough catches. He can do special team stuff for you. He can run routes. Big fan of what watching him bring. So if you guys are doing it, like, comment, subscribe.